Welcome back to Champion Your Life with me, Leighanne Champion, the podcast where we think through and we break down and process life together. Welcome. Have you ever found yourself just trapped in a whirlwind of drama, feeling drained and exhausted? If so, you're not alone. I mean, getting ensnared in the drama trap is a common challenge that we all face. It's like emotional quicksand that threatens our own well-being. And we've all experienced it. It's those moments when we're dealing with a friend or family member who just loves nothing more than stirring up an argument, or the coworker who loves office gossip a little bit too much and talks nonstop about the way the company is letting them down, or possibly the fragile friend whose feelings are always hurt no matter what it is you say or do. Or maybe it's the person that you always seem to have to rescue that seem to be happily dependent on you to fix them. We can easily get bogged down by these kinds of relationships. Truly, they drain our energy, don't they? And when left unattended, these relationships, they often end in turmoil. So I guess the question really is, why do we get caught up in unnecessary drama? Well, the answer really lies in our relationships and our interactions with others. So today what we're going to do is we're going to navigate this drama minefield together and emerge equipped with 5 powerful tools. So here are the steps that will help you to stay out of the drama. Step 1, the importance of setting boundaries. So very interesting. Many people misunderstand the concept of boundaries and use them incorrectly. I'd like to begin by clarifying what boundaries truly are, as I often hear people say that they need to set a boundary when they might not actually even need to. Often, it's very interesting, what we think requires a boundary is actually due to our own neglecting of our own self-care, rather than a true boundary issue. One common confusion about boundaries is thinking that simply saying no to others constitutes setting a boundary. A genuine boundary involves saying no and then taking actions that support your decision. To put it simply, a boundary becomes necessary when someone has really crossed a line for you. It's like when someone has entered your personal space without permission, whether it's your physical space or your emotional space, or even invading your personal life, like entering your house without consent. But a true boundary involves clearly stating your response if that person continues their behavior, rather than telling them how to behave. It's about asserting or explaining what you will do, but it's not trying to control their actions. I know, this is where people get very confused. This is one of the biggest stumbling blocks that I see. Many human beings just struggle with saying no. I see this a lot. Often people are afraid of disappointing others. They're afraid of the resistance that they will come up against. So they tend to say, yeah, okay, when they really want to say no. You know, it's interesting, but by not telling the truth and not having your own self-respect, you basically create a situation where boundary violations are very easy. So what I want you to do today is think of boundaries as an invisible line that defines what belongs to you and what doesn't. They act as a kind of filter, allowing positivity in and the negativity out. And when you set personal boundaries consciously, oh my goodness, you can gain so much more control over your thoughts, your feelings and your actions and reactions without feeling responsible for others. It's interesting, we all do set some form of boundaries instinctively, but consciously defining our personal day-to-day boundaries enhances our emotional well-being and truly does enrich the quality of our relationships. So step 2, direct communication. Have you ever noticed that the most dramatic people in our lives often have a way of making their problems seem more important than anyone else's? So breaking through their reality distortion field will require you to have an honest, direct approach. You might need to communicate that you wish for a more balanced relationship, one where your thoughts and desires are heard as much as theirs. You may need to express your desire for their support too. But being direct is a very proactive step in liberating you from reacting to their drama. And look, if the relationship matters to them, they'll make an effort. They'll begin the change. However, I do want you to be mindful that this pattern might be deeply ingrained for them. And in order to really change this dynamic, you may have to remind them a few times. But remember, friends, we tolerate what we allow. The good news here is that by setting this boundary, you begin to foster a sense of equality in the relationship, and no one can argue with that outcome. Step 3, be a leader, not a follower. Another way to counter drama proactively is by taking the lead in conversations and activities. By no means does this mean dominating the conversation, but rather taking responsibility for where things are headed. Remember, once again, you attract what you permit. For example, if gossiping makes you feel super uneasy, just redirect the conversation somewhere else. If someone in your circle prefers all the loud bars and historically winds up losing control, suggest an alternative activity that better aligns with you. The boundary between being a leader or a follower will either define you as someone in control of how you feel or as someone who lets others control how you feel. I really want you to think about that for a moment. The boundary between leading and following defines your emotional autonomy. Step 4, be a light out there. If you think about it, there's just a natural boundary, right, between positivity and negativity. And we all just need to decide we're going to enforce it. It's a choice, isn't it? When someone comes to you with nothing but negativity, choose to be a beacon for them. I mean, sometimes this just means shining a light on brighter aspects of a situation that has been obscured because of their negative mindset, right? But emotionally intelligent people recognize the difference between someone opening up their heart and sharing something that when they need support versus letting someone else just simply vent. You know what I mean, that kind of useless negativity. When you recognize that the former is happening, you can either let it happen and get stuck in it and let it steal your energy, or you can proactively guard against it by moving the conversation in a more positive direction. Look, we all know drama is rarely constructive. It never fixes anything, does it? In fact, it usually exacerbates issues instead of resolving them. We already live in a world that is upside down, and who wants to contribute to more chaos, right? Step 5, you're going to have to be brave. Setting boundaries and speaking truth in love demands courage. Overcoming the fear of hurting someone else's feelings often prevents us from making healthier choices. And similarly, the fear of isolating ourselves can trap us in toxic relationships. So it takes a certain kind of bravery, doesn't it, to cut ties? Simply put, courage is necessary to create and maintain your own personal boundaries. I like to think of it much in the way that we must prune plants, right? To shape and encourage their growth, so too must we make productive pruning a part of our own lives. So if you've taken the steps to try to shape a relationship with someone close to you, and yet the drama persists, it may be the time to let go of the relationship until perhaps that person can function at the same level of maturity that you need your close relationships to reflect. It's interesting. I think just about everyone will tell you that they hate drama, even people who are constantly living in it. So you need to make the decision of what you will tolerate. I want you to remember that life is too short for unnecessary drama. Set those boundaries and watch how your relationships transform. Use your voice. Be bold. It's not easy, but it's so worth it. Be courageous. And if you need help, reach out. As a transformational life coach, I would be so honored to help guide you in this journey. I always say this, but I sure mean it. What do we have? We only have this one precious life. Let's not fool around. Let's live it to its fullest. Until next time, stay boundary strong and drama free. Godspeed.